Something has been going on in the streets of Carlton. Maybe you noticed it while rushing to catch a movie at Cinema Nova or after polishing off a slice of cake at Bernetti. Forget the Bermuda Triangle, this is the Elgin rectangle. The mystery began a few months ago, when people parking in the area realized something weird was happening. The remote control on the car keys had stopped working. Visitors to Carlton would spend chunks of time waiting for the beep, flash or clunk to signify their chariot had been successfully protected. No luck. Was it dodgy batteries? The negligent was doing a nice business out of it. But no, drive around the corner and the electronics would start working again. The enigma seemed to be focused in one small pocket, Elgin Street between Drummond Street and Ligon Street. Nothing as serious as ships disappearing into thin air, but still pretty eerie. What could be causing this disturbance? Events of a couple of weeks ago really kicked off the theories. A patient at Carlton Dental walked into the reception to say that his car wouldn't start. After 3 hours the car had to be towed away to a mechanic. When it arrived, they found nothing wrong with it. It had to be linked to the keys. Perhaps it was caused by the mobile phone towers on top of the shopping center across the road. Or maybe an enterprising thief was jamming the signal of the keys as part of a break-in spree. A more scandalously inclined theorist suggested it might be police listening in on a bunch of mafiosi plotting a drug deal. This is Carlton after all. We've been asking more questions and it's become much more noticeable in the last week, said Dr. Barry Johnson, who has run Carlton Dental for 25 years. No one would believe that there was an interference with our car locks. Across the road at Elgin, Lotto and tobacconist, Malverk said he noticed when more people than usual were coming and asking him to replace their car remote batteries. That's when we realized that actually it's the frequency that is jamming up, so if they go a block that way or that way it works, he said. Mark Johns, at Elgin Printing, said he noticed the rise in car alarms going off. It's not coincidental, there's just too many, he said. So who do you call in this situation? The police have bigger things to deal with. The council didn't know how to help. The power company laughed it off. After the Age visited the site last week to check if the problem was real, a call was placed to the Australian Communications and Media Authority. A field officer subsequently paid the area a visit with a spectrum analyzer, which found a constant signal at the frequency of 434 MHz, the same used by car key remotes. After walking around with the analyzer, it appeared the strongest reading was coming from the doorway at the dentist. The culprit? It wasn't a frequency jammer or clandestine radio broadcast but a doorbell. A fault with a transmitter used as part of a doorbell sensor at Carlton Dental had knocked out car key remotes across the whole street. ACMA said this kind of thing doesn't happen very often but can sometimes affect other devices like garage remotes. A few years ago in the US, homeowners in California started noticing that their garage doors had stopped opening remotely after a nearby military base began testing radios on the same frequency. While he's happy the mystery has been solved, the kicker is that Dr. Johnson provided the original tip-off about the problem. It's us of all people, he said. I knew something around the area must have been causing the problem but I had no idea it was ours. Now it's up to me to fix it.
There's an updated version of one of Australia's consistently best-selling models coming soon, the Subaru Outback. Due in Australia soon, the updated model has just been launched in the US and that gives us a glimpse of some of the changes we can expect to see locally. The 2018 Subaru Outback welcomes exterior styling tweaks, front and rear, more aerodynamic headlights and wing mirrors, that are set to reduce wind noise, and better cabin sound insulation. There's also a new safety system coming to the Subaru SUV that automatically locks the doors as the vehicle drives off. It unlocks the doors when the vehicle is placed in park and driver's doors opened, and automatically unlocks all doors in the event of airbag deployment. We can also expect an updated infotainment system with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. The update though most likely won't include any significant mechanical changes, with power still coming by way of a choice of 3 boxer engines, 2.5-liter petrol, 3.6-liter petrol and 2.0-liter diesel. We will keep you updated as further details come to hand in our Subaru Outback news section.
The big new Subaru Ascend 7-seat SUV may be no closer to an Australian debut, but the company's local boss says he'd welcome it with open arms. At the Australian launch of its much smaller stablemate, the 2017 Subaru XV, Managing Director Colin Christie said the Ascend would make a fitting complement to the brand's SUV lineup here. "We're in constant conversation with Subaru about a whole series of things from a product planning point of view. The Ascend is definitely one we're talking to them about. But, at this point in time, there is no indication we'll get that product. It is definitely designed to be built in the American plant, only as a left-hand drive offering. But, if it ever became available to us, it's certainly something we'd be interested in still, even if the Ascend were to descend down under." Christie doesn't see it as a volume rival to the likes of the Toyota Kluger or Mazda CX-9. The Kluger managed 1195 sales in May, while the CX-9 found 770 homes. "The way we'd look at it, and similar to the Tribeca we had a while ago, is that it's more of a complementary product for the range. I don't think it'll be massive sales volume for us if we could get it. To be honest, we haven't even done the work to look at it, because, at this stage, we're not getting the car." In Christie's view, the Ascend would work best as a means of keeping buyers in the Subaru family as they move through a life cycle that, for some, includes upsizing to a 7-seat family hauler before downsizing again into the empty nester phase. At the moment, those buyers are potentially leaving the brand, and then it's obviously more difficult to get them back in as they downsize again down the road. So, definitely a complementary product rather than an out-and-out volume seller. But, to be honest, they don't represent a huge amount. I think, though, that's probably because they already know we don't have one, or they've gone online and found we don't have one. We don't get a huge amount of feedback from dealers that customers are coming in looking for a 7-seater. For now, Subaru will be hoping most families' needs are being served by the 5-seat Outback. With 1195 sales in May, and 5045 for the year to the end of May, it is comfortably one of the best-selling models in the large SUV segment.
The all-new 2017 Subaru XV is expected to deliver around 1,000 sales each month for the brand in Australia, positioning it near the front of the race in the small SUV segment. By comparison, and apart from a couple of standout months, the outgoing Subaru XV's monthly numbers in 2016 were closer to the 500 to 700 mark. But, while the company is confident this new generation model will outdo those numbers, it admits it would struggle to do much better than 1,000 in a month, even if demand were there. Speaking with Car Advice at the Australian launch of the 2017 XV, new Subaru Australia Managing Director Colin Christie, formerly the company's marketing and sales director, concedes production capacity can be a constraint on local potential, but the company can occasionally push for more. "If you take last year, we managed to finish at 47,000 cars. Earlier in the year, it looked like we were going to miss that number by a couple of thousand, in terms of production. So, depending on how our markets are going, and our performance, we've been able to secure extra production," he said. And even this year, same thing. We were probably 1,000 or 2,000 cars short of where we wanted production, and we've been able to get that. But it is still tight, and you're always challenged with what sorts of cars you can get. If it can achieve around 1,000 sales per month, the XV would still sit behind top sellers like the Mitsubishi ASX, 1742 in May 2017, and Mazda CX-3 1542, although it would be neck and neck with the Honda HR-V 1029 in May, and Nissan Qashqai 1028. With those production limitations in mind, combined with specification and pricing differences, Christie is not confident the new XV would be able to catch the top two. But, as the Impreza has shown, more than doubling last year's year-to-date sales at 5161 to 2271, growth is definitely in reach. I think even if we could, we're not going to have enough cars to do it. But, from our point of view, that 1,000 car mark is probably where the car sits. The entry price is a terrific price point for what you get, but there are obviously CX-3, etc., have cheaper entry points than ours. So I think, given the market, and the price positioning, I think that's a pretty reasonable position for us. Although available in 4 trim grades, the new XV is offered with just one engine and transmission combination, a 2.0-liter 4-cylinder naturally aspirated petrol engine, matched to a CVT automatic. And, unlike most rivals, it is available in all-wheel drive only, which likewise impacts on entry pricing. Elsewhere, the XV has been offered as a hybrid, including one with STI goodies, and while Subaru Australia has explored that option in the past, it is not expecting to offer the new version, when it appears, to the local market. At this point there is nothing definite on the cards yet. I know Subaru in Japan are working hard on hybrid technology, as well as electric, so we'd love to see some sort of hybrid model at some point in time. But at this point, there is nothing set in stone. Regardless of whatever volume aspirations he might harbor, Christie said the company's focus has been on matching production to demand and balancing investment in future models. I think it's a better situation than having too much, obviously. I think having the right level of stock, and from a factory point of view, them being able to sell as many cars as they can build means being able to invest more money into research and development, and build better cars as time progresses, he said. It'd be nice if there were a bit more stock, but obviously we'd never want to go too far the other way.